All right, everybody, welcome to the Groundsman. It is, man. That top order just demolished So normally what that structure looks like is like this, and honestly, that's part of why the groundsmen are here as well, so that you don't have to wait for Coke Week in order to see who's who and what's what. All right, everybody, welcome to the Groundsman, where you find everything that has to do with school cricket, what the boys are doing, how they're doing them, what the schools are doing, and also what's going on around the school cricket landscape, man. As usual, I've got my co-host TT. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. It's good to be back.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. This is episode 6 of the Groundsman podcast. So it's actually quite dope that we've been consistent with it, and there's some games for us to cover.
Yeah, it's been an interesting journey so far, and yeah, I'm quite interested to hear how the games of this past weekend have gone.
Yeah, man. It was an interesting. It was a little disappointing. I mean, we shared some stuff on our Instagram page and some stuff on our Facebook. The rains. I think the rains won this weekend. Because it started raining like on Thursday. A lot of guys didn't cover their pitches, and those that did woke up to a very foggy Saturday morning, also a bit of a foggy Sunday, with drizzle. So it was like, those days where you go and play and it's like, and it's on and off. So you go on, you play for a few minutes, it's cold, it's miserable, then it starts raining. So it was that kind of weekend, man.
Yeah, stop start type of weekend.
Yeah, yeah. So I can imagine this is not what the boys were hoping to get out of the Malcolm X weekend. But nonetheless, I think we had some games over the weekend which weren't so bad. We had St. Andrews versus Somerset College, T20 game. It seems like St. Andrews started with something, an appetizer. But we'll talk about what the score was there. And then we had St. Charles versus Grey College. They managed to get a game this weekend. Also, not a very high scoring game. I think some rain interruptions there. They didn't really finish that game. It got sort of rained out, but we can chat a little bit about that. And then we had National Academy playing the SA under 19s again, with shuffled squads. And I
Yeah,
think an interesting one, man. I think this National Academy, I want to dig a little deeper into it, right? Because this National Academy is just coming across very poor. Um, taking a loss again to SA under 19. And it's not even about the loss; it's about how they lost, which is yeah, it's a bit perplexing for me, considering that these are sort of potential next Proteas.
yeah,
Um, but we'll talk about that, and then we'll have a little chat at the end. Groundsman thoughts. There's nothing really on topic this week, but again, we'll see closer to the end. The conversations always get going, regardless on the groundsman, right? So we'll chat a bit about that. The St. Andrews game, St. Andrews first 11 versus Somerset. St. Andrews batted first. They scored 171 for 5, in their 20 overs. We had a lacquer sort of 55, from Gerrit Badenhorst. I think he batted decently enough. Um, Again, it's a T20 game, right? And here on the groundsman, we're big fans of 50 over and Test match cricket. But I think as usual, we understand that the game has evolved. So a 50 in T20 is decent. But I was listening to Kevin Peterson talking about, he was what do you call it? He was commentating on the IPL, right? And
Yeah.
I heard it and I was just like, yes, Kevin's such a rebel, dude. He was saying exactly what we were saying about 2 weeks ago, around batsmen converting, right? And I mean,
Yeah.
he's commentating on the IPL. It's a T20 game, and his frustration is exactly the same as ours in that you can't get going and then you stop, right? So the great players score hundreds, regardless of the format. You get into that 70, 80 mark in a T20, you get to that at least 90 odd 100. You gotta convert that stuff. That's what separates the good players from the great ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's just what he was talking about. And I thought, I mean, they batted out their full 20 overs. And Gerrit, I think, did decently well. I looked at some of the shots he played. It looked really good. I think the kids got something from St. Andrews. The top order didn't do too bad. Liam Doherty scored 28. Keelan Ole scored 20. And then Gerrit came in at 3, scoring at 55. So it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad from them.
And they ended up with what, 175?
171.
171.
Mm.
That's not bad.
Yeah, yeah. The middle order came in. Jaden Davids came in and scored 33 not out, which essentially is what that sort of the middle order is supposed to do when your top order gets a start, right?
Mm.
Yeah, so he came in at 6, scored 33 not out and 17 balls at a strike rate of 194. So that's it. That's almost exactly what you want from your number 6 batsman coming in, which is decent.
Yeah, you definitely want him coming in guns blazing. I mean, at T20, it's almost designed that you don't have a choice. I mean, you're batting at number 6, you have to be that type of player that can
Yeah,
come in from ball one and just start going at it.
yeah, definitely, definitely. And then I mean the bowling obviously nothing to speak about. Um, uh, they bowled Somerset College out for 55. So honestly, there's not much to talk about. There was Andre Dupree who took 3 wickets, but outside of that, I think the wickets were shared across the bowlers. So not much to talk about there. But I think just a decent. That's why I was saying at the beginning that I think St. Andrews just got themselves a nice little appetizer to get themselves going. Just shake off the rust, get themselves moving. Again, though, remember that the remember that the rain plays a bit of a role in weekend scores like this, and I think that's why we saw such low scoring weekends. That on and
Yeah,
off, man, that stuff can put you off, eh?
nah, definitely. That coming on, bowling over a 2, and then you got to go off again, especially as a batsman. I think it's better for the bowling side than it is for the batting side. It's horrible. If you're a batting side that needs to go out there, and then as a batsman, you got to see an over 2, 3, 4, and then come off for a bit, and then come back in because you never really get your eye in.
Yeah, yeah. So it almost feels like you're in your first you're in your first 4 overs the whole game. You spend the whole game just trying to get your eye in, and eventually you get out, especially with new balls.
Exactly. And you don't, the thing with cricket is that there's a large part of the psychology of scoring runs lies in the amount of time you can keep the bowling side out there for.
Mm,
So, as a bowling side, if we are bowling pockets of 6, 8 overs and then coming off, those are great little energy bursts. We can literally keep bowling our best guys and they won't be tired. So, traditionally, you'd have your opening bowler come in, he'd bowl maybe 4 overs. They'd bowl it as a pair. They get the 8 overs out, and then they'd either get 8 overs a turn out the first 10 in, and then you'd have to change, right?
Yeah.
But in this case, you've got them coming on for the first. Oh wait, this is a T20, so they get 4 overs each.
Yeah.
Or is it? Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
they get
4 overs each.
bowl each, yeah.
Yeah, so they'll come in for the first 4 overs, and then they'd have to change and then keep another four for later on for them too. When you've got rain coming on, they can pile on that pressure and eat up the first 10 overs.
Yeah.
Just because of the rain, just because you got to get yourself in. And if it keeps doing that, then everybody has the opportunity to get that first over in. Because no one ever, unless you're a really dodgy bowler, that first over you could always get away with as a bowler.
Yeah.
The batsman's going to see you through. So if you've got 1 or 2 overs and you got to come off as a captain, that's great for me. I can keep bringing guys on that are going to steal overs. They're going to steal overs. In a T20 game, you only have to steal a certain amount of overs to essentially play you out of the game. You got to do big. That creates pressure for the batsman.
Yeah, so that's St. Andrews winning by 116 runs. Then the next game we had St. Charles College versus Grey College. So I think a decent competitive game there is a 35 over game. St. Charles batted first, scoring 132 for 6. And Grey College essentially getting there with only 1 wicket down. So it's obviously it just seems Gray just walked all over the guys. The 2 opening pairs scored 59 and 40. And then we had Ian van der Merwe come in, sort of finish up at 3 with 19 runs. So I mean there's not really much to talk about there. Congratulations to Niels Volschenk, right? Niels Volschenk, captain, keeper, opener.
Jack of all trades.
Jack of all trades, man. Jack of all trades. I think he had a decent innings. I watched a bit of the highlights, and I think he batted decently enough. Couple boundaries, couple sixes, couple ones and twos. Ran well. Saw him running down the wicket a few times and not getting warned by the umpire. But it was decent, man. I think Grey College sort of walked this one. There wasn't really much to chase, but again, it was an overcast day. The team batting first is always gonna get sharp, right?
Yeah,
especially on wickets, even if it's covered, it's always damp. Right? It's never bone dry unless you're like on an international wicket, and even those sometimes don't always get all the moisture out.
Yeah, it's always just it's gonna stick a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. So that's always a tough one. So Grey College winning that one. Congratulations to Niels Volschenk. Fantastic, bud. Again, not much to chase there, but you look good, and I think if you had more on the table, you probably would have chased down that 100. And then we have our last game for the day, which is National Academy versus Under 19. Now, you remember, T, we had a conversation about the last game these guys had, where we had Captain George. We didn't feel that some of the players justice, but that was okay. He's a youngster, he'll get there. We had National Academy T20 game. They batted first. They scored 140, right? All out.
Yeah.
Mind you, this is National Academy, right? So we discussed what they are. These are
114.
114, all out. in 20 overs, right? And the SA under 19 essentially chased that down in 12 over in just under 13 overs, only 3 down, right? So no big 50s sort of spread across. The guys chased it. That was a simple one, man. There really wasn't much to write home about. I think the one thing that we can talk about, it seemed like, again, I think it's a South African culture again. The guys struggled against spin, man. And I'm not talking about like big turners of the ball, right? Nothing like a Shane Warne, like he's turning
Yeah.
everything square kind of thing. For instance, Alder Liam came through and he took 4 wickets, right? And if you look at the wickets that he took, they weren't. It just feels like guys missing straight balls, right? So the first wicket guy got balled, pitched it on middle, hit top of off. It was a good ball, but the way they look, and you can tell me, T, it just looks like they can't play spin, right? It just
See what we've got here.
right. So that's the front facing angle there.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
where are you, man?
He's nowhere. Look where his foot is, right? Where?
Yeah. Yeah, he's nowhere.
He's nowhere.
Nowhere.
You can't, like, it just seemed like they can't play spin. And I thought it was just me, right? I thought I'm maybe I'm being harsh, but they just kept missing straight balls.
Yeah. Why are you sweeping? Why are you reverse sweeping when it's pitching almost outside the leg?
Yeah. And you're reverse sweeping to get it. I mean, if he just swept the ball like normal, right? And this is a left-hander batting against a left-arm orthodox, so the ball's turning into him. So essentially, all he needed to do was just play a conventional sweep, and he's got boundaries. Why are you forcing yourself to hit across the line? See what I mean?
Man.
Again,
That's just poor shot selection. That's just poor shot. Was that a full toss?
well, he could have made it a full toss. Essentially, if he plays a normal stroke, that's a half volley. That's like a normal half volley. You can hit him down. You see what I mean? Like you can hit him straight for one.
Play
if you
straight.
want, just play straight.
Straight down the ground. That's boundary.
You know what I mean, dude? Like it's one of those things where it makes me worried about sort of the next generation of Proteas.
And the spinner's not even that good.
He's not turning it
falling all over.
and I mean, so you look at that.
Through.
It's not, dude. So Aldous, I mean, he bowled 4 overs, took 4 wickets, right? Fantastic, but I think yeah, we can give you a round of applause for that. Fantastic. And then Asake Tsaka came in as well, also a spinner. And if you look at how the he also took his wickets, again, same type of poor shot selection, where you're thinking, what are you doing? I mean, these guys they're 85 for 6 at this point in 15 overs. So they got 5 overs to go.
Yeah.
Right? 5 overs to go. At this point, you know what? If you rush it, you get bowled out for like 110 or whatever.
What?
You see? Nothing. This is
That was a
second
nothing
one.
shot.
Nothing shot. Also gets caught out there. Let me see if I can find a different angle. But really, most of them are just nothing shots. Hits it straight to the man, has to come in, catch, fantastic catch out in the outfield.
Yeah.
Right? Great catch out in the outfield. But I mean, in reality, there's really not much. And that was off the last ball. Last ball of the
Uh-huh.
20th over. That's the bowler, Mayet. Um, really nothing. There's just the way they went out makes me worry about what South African cricket looks like in the next while, right? We've got the CSA T20 tournament happening right now, and you see Riley Rousseau and those guys come back into the country and they're scoring runs, but those guys are aged out now, right? We can't possibly, and I don't want to even think about the fact that we might be thinking about a Riley Rousseau and them coming back into the Proteas side. But at this rate, they might just be the only ones left.
Yeah, no, we're gonna have to keep an eye on these guys because at this point, this isn't. This doesn't look like there are some serious players in there. I
Yeah,
don't know. Maybe it's just a bad day at the office. Who knows? So we'll have to keep an eye on that side because I think there may be some guys on the outside that might have something to say about this team.
I agreed. Yeah, I agree with you, man. I think there are guys that would have a lot to say about this team. And if you look at the SA under 19, I mean, they're performing fantastically, right? So maybe it's not all bleak, because you got SA under 19s essentially playing well and sort of taking apart this what do you call it? This National Academy side. And they changed the lineup as well, that SA under 19 squad. So they're trying to give guys as much of an opportunity as possible before next year's T20 under 19. I mean, before next year's under 19 World Cup. So I think they're trying to give a lot of guys a run. Gwena wasn't here today, um, and they brought a few guys on, like the spinners and that. Um, the it was very interesting to watch, because if you, for instance, look at a Jaden Smith, right, who came in, opened the batting, scored 53 on a wicket like that. You can, as always, it's not great. It's always better to bat second. Um,
Yeah,
but youngsters, I think they did a good job, man. Chasing down the score, because you only really know what a wicket is like until both teams have batted on it.
mm,
So when I watched him bat, it looked like a different wicket. It just looked like a different wicket. It looked like the National Academy bowlers were just not doing anything. I mean, he made it look so simple, dude. So simple. It was ridiculous to watch. Um, and it's
is
you can't. It's not. I don't think it's that the Academy bowlers were horrible. I don't think they're great. But I just think that the SA under 19 batsmen were just on another level, another class altogether. And that's a question I wanted to ask you actually when I saw this, is that, do you think there's a change in hunger, right? So these SA under 19 boys know that they're trying to get a spot for the World Cup, right? We
mm,
know that. These National Academy boys have been picked for the next 3 years, right? They moved it from, I think it was a year or 3 months, and then they said, okay, we're gonna have a 3-year program now, where we pick the boys, they stay incubated for those 3 years. We do the camps throughout while they play for their franchises and whatever other teams they play for, but they're in the setup. So do you think this is just comfort, or what's your take on this, on their performance?
look, there's two things, right? Like you say, they may be in a different program, and they may have been. It's possible that they may have been a different mandate to the boys to say, go out there and you know get loose.
Yeah.
Got a long season ahead. We're playing because this is essentially the same as playing in-house,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
a warm-up game for both of them. So the mandate may have been, go out there, do what you do, in the sense that get loose, play your shots, go for it. It's a T20 game, um, and it may just not have paid off with a lot of the guys. It may that for me would explain why a lot of the guys are going for the reverse sweeps and all that stuff,
Yeah.
right? If I was to give them the benefit of the doubt, I think. But on the other hand, it also shows that, well, one, it does speak to the fact that, like we say, on the other side, the mandate is you need to prove yourself.
Yeah.
On the other side, it's more we're warming up. And on the other side, it's we need to prove yourself. You need to prove yourself to earn a spot to play in the World Cup next year. And
Mm.
so, yes, the motivations are different. And the level of intensity may not have been matched by the academy side because of what they were trying to achieve. And so it's possible that we may be critical on them, but it's also possible that from a sports competitive side of things, it doesn't look good
Yeah.
because the reality is that it's if you guys weren't going out there to try and win the game, then you guys are essentially not even realizing that you're giving up your spots in a year to come. Because these boys aren't going to play under 19 forever.
Yeah.
Guess where they go after this? Academy side.
Yeah.
And every one of those boys that's doing well, the Jaden Smiths, best believe that academy opening batsman needs to watch himself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah, man, I think that it does speak to a lack of mandate, and it could just be that the emphasis wasn't put on winning, or it could be that these guys were just outplayed. They just weren't good enough. So
Mm.
it's not really that big of a gap between the under 19s and the academy side. They're all still under 21s or under 23s, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it's peers playing peers, and one went out there to win and prove in himself, and the other one was trying to warm up.
Yeah. They met each other at different intensity levels. And I think it just showed. And it honestly
Yeah,
just
and the
showed
normal
over the last.
circumstances. And
Yeah.
the normal circumstances, it's okay. But now that you've got something like the groundsman that's watching every game, things like this are going to have to change because we evaluate you on your ability to perform. Because the best don't say, it's the under 19s. The best go, it's the under 19s. We need to show them why we are who we are.
Yeah.
And so the attitude going into the game with people watching has to change. Because we're going to talk about it like it was an actual competitive match. Because I
Yeah.
tell you what, those under 19s came to compete. And I tell you what, somebody's paying for your position at that academy. You're
Yeah.
not paying to be at the academy. Somebody's funding that academy, and somebody expects results. Somebody expects to see potential coming out of there. Somebody expects see the best guys like the ABs. Go look at their track record. Even in the games, the games like this is where they made their 150s, their 200s, where they just dominated.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
they weren't playing guys that are supposedly at their level or guys that were younger than them, they don't let up.
Yeah. Yeah. You're absolutely right. So I'll tell you about a game we played against AB back in varsity. Um because he came back to play for UP, right?
Yeah.
And everybody's like, yo, AB's back. It was one of those times where the Proteas didn't have anything, and he was coming off an injury, so he sort of needed game time, right? and then there was no games at the Titans, no academy games, provincial academy games. So he was like, okay, I gotta go all the way down and play club cricket, right?
Yeah.
So he came, he played for UP, and I think he scored almost just over 200 runs that day, right? Um, I was playing for Pretoria Police at the time. Yes, they have a cricket team. And I was in varsity, and that's sort of the club that I found, and I started playing with them, and they were like, yeah, we're playing UP first team this weekend. Let's go.
Yeah.
Holy smokes. Like, when you watch certain guys on TV, right? It it
Mm.
looks effortless, and it looks like, okay, yeah, geez, man, AV's so good, man. But to be in a game and watch him do it, it's so demoralizing. And I guess like my point, I guess, is that um these boys need to take it like that. Every game is an opportunity for you to showcase your skill set. Every single one, right? Um, it would have been easy for AB to say, okay, yeah, no, let me go down and play. It'll be good to have a game or two. I've been out with injury for a while. Let me just see how this goes. No, you could see that man had a mission. You could see he'd come to that game to work on something. And that's what he decided to do. And the shots that he played, again, like 360, man, just absolutely demolished. It's at that time where you realize the difference, the level in skill set and difference between pro tier players and club players, or sort of SAN and 19 players, or like there's a
Mm.
distinct difference between playing international cricket and playing sort of local franchise or even club cricket.
Yeah, man. Look, at the end of the day, and I think this is what a lot of people need to realize that play sports is warm up games aren't meant for you to go out there and fail. No. People, we don't go find a team that is not competing with you at your level so that you can go and fail against them. No, it's designed so that you can go score 200, 250, so that you're in the space to be able to score 100 against your competitors.
Mm,
That's what warm up means. It means you get your engine going. Get your engine going. Spend the whole day, bat 50 overs. It means, get a fiver, get your confidence up. It's not meant for you to lose. Like, we don't warm up. Like, how are you gonna get your confidence up if you don't
yeah,
have a smashing warm up session? You didn't go out there and we dominated the under 19 team. We dominated this team. We dominated this team. We're ready to compete now.
yeah,
That's what warm up is. Like, I hate the fact that guys go into warm up thinking that, yeah, it's warm ups for me to fail. No, practice. You fail at practice.
yeah. Practice, you can go
Warm ups to
out.
get your confidence up now.
Yeah,
You've been getting your ass kicked at practice. Now we're gonna go warm up, right? We're gonna find a team that's just not as on our level, so that
yeah,
we can get our confidence up. We can score runs. We can dominate. We can do all the stuff, so
yeah,
that we can make sure that by the time we actually start competing with the guys in our leagues and in the cups and stuff, our confidence is sky high.
yeah,
But how are you gonna compete against the top guys from different countries when you've just lost to your under 19 side? You can't tell me you're feeling good about that next match.
yeah.
Oh no, we were warming up, we're trying to. No, warm up is for you to literally go out there and bat through. You gotta bat all the way through. You gotta get your eye in, bat through. You can't chuck it. It's not the time to go out for zero. Whoa, what did you warm up? If you
Yeah,
go out there, you chuck your wicket in a warm up game, what have you warmed up? You can only
yeah,
warm up if you're getting game time. That's the whole point of warming up. Get
yeah.
some game time.
Time in
Get
the middle,
loose.
man. Time in the
So if
middle.
you're not scoring hundreds in 2020s in your warm up games, if you're not dominating 200 plus 150 plus in your warm-up games, then you're definitely like, how can we expect you to score 100 against India if you can't do it against your under 19s?
Yeah, absolutely.
Think about it that way, gents. How do you honestly expect us as cricket fans to think you're going to do something special against international teams when you can't do it against schoolboys?
Straight fire. Straight fire. That's the truth, though. That's the truth. Regardless of how you may feel and what conversations you're having in the change room with your coach, with your development coaches, that doesn't matter. That means absolutely nothing. That you have to, and again, it's one of those things, right? It's about understanding the economics of the game. Is that no one pays to watch normal players play. You know what I mean? Like no
Yeah.
one pays to watch regular Joes play. That's why club games are free, and school games are free. All of that stuff. People pay hard-earned money to watch guys do superhuman things. Guys hit
Do what
balls
I can't do.
103 meters out. Do what I can't do. That's
That's why we
exactly
watch sports. That's why,
it.
and you know what? I'm gonna say something that it's gonna be controversial. Some people may not like it. It's the reason why women's sports is not as popular.
Mm,
Is because for the most part, we know the average cricket player can do what an international female cricket player can do.
yeah,
And that's not a knock on nobody. If you've played top cricket, you know that as provincial teams, you warm up with the national women's team.
yeah, that's true. I mean that's a given. It's not
We just played
anything
against them.
against them.
Yeah, no, it's not a rumor or anything. I played against the national women's team,
Yeah,
and that was expected for us to win. And we were under 17, we were under 15s. And I'm
that's
talking
true.
about like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like no knock on nobody. I'm just talking about my life experience. That's who I played against. That's what was expected of us as a team.
yeah,
And you couldn't lose. We never did lose.
yeah,
And so I say this because it that translates into why sports fans watch sports. We
yeah,
watch sports because we're watching somebody that can do something that I could never do. I watch Cristiano Ronaldo because I could never do that.
yeah,
I watch Shane Warne because I could never, ever in my life turn
yeah,
the ball like he turns the ball with so much control and.
yeah. Next
You know,
level.
we watch these guys because they do stuff that we cannot do as fans, and that's why we are fans. You
Yeah,
have to be able to do something, and we can take it into any world, right? We support singers and artists because they do stuff that we can't do, but
yeah,
we'd love to be able to do. Women love Beyonce because she can sing in a way that women wish they could sing.
yeah,
That's why they are
yeah,
fans of hers. Men love sports because we're watching men do stuff that we could not do. And now some people will say, no, listen, there are sports that guys watch that women do. Yes, because those women are doing stuff that the average guy can't
can't
do.
do. Yeah, yeah. They're
Serena
fantastic at what
Williams,
they do. Yeah,
exactly. We support Serena because, damn, man, she's doing. The average guy goes, I don't know if I could beat her. Once you can get a man to think like that, they'll watch you perform
yeah,
because now
yeah,
they're like, I don't know if I could. Even fighters, we only watch the most like the female fighters that really go after it because
yeah,
they push it to a point where we go, I mean, I could, but I don't know if I could beat Amanda Nunes like
yeah.
that. It's
Yeah.
that doubt. That doubt is what makes. So if we look at you as an academy side or a national side, and you get beat by a team that we expect you to thrash, we start to go, maybe these guys aren't as good as we think they are. We'll watch something else.
Yeah,
We'll watch another team play. Where's the guys that we, and that's why we don't get that support. American football is what it is because you look at those high school boys and you're like, I don't know if
Yeah,
I could beat them.
yeah,
I don't know if I could beat them.
yeah, yeah, yeah. They do unbelievable things. It's actually surprising when you're like, okay, this kid is only in high school, and technically, if he doesn't get drafted, he'll then still go to college, and perform exceptionally well at college, and then from college, move into the NFL. So it's actually a fantastic point that you make, because when you watch those those leagues, right? When you watch those leagues in the US and you're watching kids, these college games, like, they sell tickets, bro. Like,
Yeah.
there are tickets to some of these, to sort of Michigan State, all these guys. They sell tickets to go and watch those kids play, and there's a reason why. Because if you watch those games, you'd think you'd watching an NFL game.
Yeah. And the reason why grown men pay that money is because they look at those boys and they go, I can't do that. I
Yeah,
want to go watch some guys.
yeah. But also, again, I think a good point is that you're watching the next big thing, right? That's the feeling you get when you watch college football, the college basketball, is that you feel like you're watching the next big thing. You're watching the next
Yeah.
quarterback or running back, like you're watching the next big
Mm.
player that's coming. Oh my word, I saw him coming up. And then eventually he gets picked to play NFL, and you're like, he is exactly what I thought he was, a phenom. But you don't get that feeling when you watch, like, the National Academy. You don't, you know what I mean? Like, we shouldn't only be filling out um Proteas tickets, or when the Proteas play, or I mean, barely the Titans and Lions games are barely full, right? Even pre-COVID, there'd be maybe some one or two seats here and there, but they were barely full. Technically, as good as some of these high school players are that we've seen here, dog, um, I think we should be able to fill national games, provincial games, and some high school games, bro. Like, I've seen some really fantastic players and kids that, if anybody who enjoys watching the game, um, would go and watch some of these schools play.
I hear you. So I've got a interesting sort of take from that, which is if you if you were to be tasked with building cricket from the support of cricket from a grassroots level, how would you build it? Uh, how would you market? Just as an overview, how would you go about it? Like, how would you get people to come and watch high school cricket games?
I think there's probably there are two things that you have to create in order to get sort of the general public to come through and watch those games, right? The first thing, I think, you'd have to garner some sort of rivalry, something that attaches those schools in those regions to the general public, right? The same
Okay.
way, when Gauteng plays Titans, it's a big thing because it's like the Northerns guys versus the Joburg guys, and those were one of the few games pre-COVID that always sort of filled out the stadium, whether you're at Centurion or at the Bullring, right? Um, I
Yeah.
think there's a level, there's something to be spoken about that. I think the schools have tried to sort of create a rugby atmosphere kind of thing, rivalry with schools that, you know how rugby matches feel different to cricket matches.
Yeah.
And I've seen it when some of these schools rugby, they've been playing some rugby now, and when the cricket matches are played, it's a very different attendance, turnout, that kind of thing, right? I think with T20, there's an opportunity to link players with with the public, right? We need to find. So, for instance, what I would do is is profile players rather than profiling schools, right? If you talk to a lot of people why they go watch the Proteas, they want to see AB, or they want to see KG, or they want to see Faf. You know, they want to go see their favorite players. But honestly, you would probably need to do similar to what the groundsmen are doing, which is profile the players, profile them, put them out there. This is this kid. He does this. He scored this much. Done. You know, all of that kind of stuff. That's exactly why, for instance, the college or high school um, promotions. That's what they do. They'll have a franchise player that they recruited from, let's say St. Stithians, recruited from Great College. He's come to Great College, and they make it a thing, dude. Like they have posters of the kid all over the place. They've got him on radio stations, TV stations, podcasts. They're talking to the players' coach. Who is this kid? He's gonna change the way Saint Stithians play from an attacking game to a more structured game. You know what I mean? Like they really create a hype and a sensation
Yeah.
around these kids. And honestly, that is what raises their market value. Because now that kid performs that year, all of a sudden, Titans is thinking, oh, geez, okay, some jersey sales. This kid's already got a following. We get some seats, tickets, ticket sales. All of a sudden, you don't need to run through six layers of a system for a player who's ready to play franchise now, right? You let him finish high
Yeah.
school, and then you can draft him immediately and let him come play franchise. Because why? He's been profiled. I think the mistake we're making in South Africa right now is that we we think the general public cares about cricket on an on a on a skills analytical level. You know what I mean? Like we think the general
Yeah.
public cares about cricket the way cricket players care about cricket. And generally, that's not the
Mm,
case. There are plenty of people that I know that have been with me for many years who only enjoyed cricket because of one or two players that I market, that I talk about. Right? I'll say this player does this, he does this, he's been fantastic. Yes, he's
yeah.
been playing well. He did this 2 weeks ago, and now he's here. He's done this, and then they go, oh, okay, that's cool. I'll look out for that player the next time I see a cricket game, and maybe I can tell my friend about it, and they can think I'm smart and I know the game as well, right? But
Mm,
generally, most people don't know the game or really care much for the game like that. What they do care about is seeing um, someone do exceptionally well, like you say, doing something that they can't do, but also that reflects them, right? So part of why cricket can unify South Africa, I feel, is that we can have a Kagiso Rabada playing next to a Quinton de Kock, um, with a Tabri Hamza coming and batting at the top with a Timber Bavuma and a David Miller. And you know what I mean? Like there's an opportunity for South Africa to be able to see themselves reflected in the game. And as soon as you
mm,
do that, and I'm telling you right now, right? Let this podcast, I'm gonna make a proclamation today. When this podcast blows up properly, right? And spreads in the masses, I'm telling you, there are gonna be so many people who are gonna be so surprised on how many schools play um uh uh, uh players of color, right? How many schools rely on players of color to come through for them and play exceptionally well. Some of the players in that SA under 19 squad, fantastic players of color, right?
Yeah.
And they're also going to be so surprised on how much better these kids play with each other, no matter the race, in their high school, compared to how it sort of plays out on a franchise or a national level, because it's a different feeling altogether. It's like these kids are like you could think they're siblings the way they play so well together in their school teams.
Mm.
So I think if I were to market school sports, I'd probably profile the players more than I would profile the schools, because in South Africa there is a class thing when it comes to the schools. So you profile the schools, certain people zone out, right? They're like, yeah, obviously, of course, they're getting publicity, right? But you begin to profile the players, it then speaks to you and me. Oh, wait, he's the same age as my son. Oh, look, wait a minute, he's fantastic. Oh, okay, there's an
Mm.
opportunity here. I can do this, bring them here. Let me go watch. Right. So I think there's a definite space in the game, an opportunity in the game to make high school high school cricket really fantastic, and even possibly varsity club cricket really fantastic. I just think the guys that are marketing the game and that are trying to get the game out there misunderstand why the general public gravitate to it. Yeah, man. So I mean, that's just me. If you think about when South Africa had like there was a massive support for the Proteas, right? Like it was palpable, man. Even my grandparents knew about the Proteas. Is when Makaya got picked, right?
Yeah.
If you think back, like properly, when Makaya got picked, it was as if sort of the rest of South Africa woke up to the fact that cricket is a sport,
Yeah.
and then he started to perform well, and then everybody was like, wait a minute, they didn't just pick him because he's black. He can actually play, and he did a lot of people proud, man. He opened so many doors. Um, that you now have the Guenas, you now have the Tembas, the KGs that can come in, that could come through and perform at that level. But the reality is that you have to profile the players and not the team. People will watch the teams because of the players. They won't watch the players because of the teams. That's just
So, do you think that from that, because you've identified something to me that's very interesting, would you say that South Africa's cricket economy is held back by the fact that everybody's so focused on the 11 spots that get to play in the Proteas side, that we have failed to build a country that is cricket centric, meaning because we're trying to get whoever we're trying to get into the national side, we have failed to build an ecosystem where, in this case, Black South Africans want to support the sport. Like, we've overlooked the support factor, which is what has made the franchise system not as lucrative, but it has placed tremendous value on being a Protea. But there's only so much economy that can be run from the national side, as opposed to creating an ecosystem at franchise level where a lot of Black players will feature, so that you can get the 80% of the country to actually support the sport itself. Because, like you said with Makaya, as soon as Black people saw somebody that represented themselves, that had a story that they could relate to, they supported the sport even when they had no prior history of understanding the sport. They literally started supporting it because they saw somebody that looked like them, that had their story, and they said, "Oh, wait, we can play there, we can get there." And so
Yeah.
we started watching that guy, and so a lot of South Africans learned about cricket purely because there was Makhaya Ntini who played cricket, and so to support him I need to learn the sport.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely agree, dude. That is a missed opportunity. If I was a sponsor, um, if I was a sponsor and I was a marketer, someone who was looking to make cricket profitable in the country, I would I would I would push for as much diversity as possible. As much diversity as possible, because the the right now cricket is supported by a small minority subsegment of us who love the game, right? Who love the game and maybe have a spouse or a partner that watches the game because you do. But outside of that, there are very few people who would choose going to watch a cricket game on the weekend over going to go park their car at a park somewhere, open their boot, have their cooler box out, and just listen to music. That's the reality of sort of, it's because it's not like the segment that you're leaving that is sort of not interested in the game has buying power. They're doing
Yeah,
stuff
but
on the weekend.
here's the trick that people are missing, though, is that cricket, unlike any other sport, is almost the and this is why South Africans, you can almost, it almost feels as if Black South Africans want to support cricket. They
Yeah,
just don't have a big enough pool to draw them to the games. But if you look at how the nature of cricket is set up, it's literally what our people do on the weekends.
yeah,
Chilling at a park, listening to music.
yeah,
It's literally a
yeah,
cricket game. You go to a cricket game, there's drinks. You can chill there, listen to music. Music plays every time between the overs. They play some music. It plays off. It is literally what South African culture is built around, and then that's in all the cultures from Afrikaans. And this is why, like, white people figured it out. It's a great merge between being able to have your family and still be able to go to a braai with your buddies
yeah,
and support your kid.
yeah,
So what we're missing, and I think that's what you mean, what I'd say with sponsors is that once you can create a space where our people know that being at this game could mean that this kid could actually be somebody, it changes our approach to it.
yeah,
But if we know that, man, nothing's gonna happen over there, nothing ever happens over there.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
the difference between why we support. We know that something could come out of this. These
yeah,
boys playing here today, they could be playing at Titans, and that means something because we've
yeah,
created a system where there's value at Titans. They are already players from, I mean, you just need more players from different townships. Like, do
yeah,
you understand that you literally own, you look at a township where like a guy like Sia Kolisi comes from,
yeah,
right? You own that region now.
yeah,
You have those people support. When
yeah,
the Springboks play, that place watches. So what you need to do, you just need more people coming from townships. You need a guy coming from Soweto. If you just had a really good player coming out of Soweto representing, you realize that you've got over 1.2 million people that will watch that game
yeah,
just because they've got a kid out of Soweto who's playing in Australia against Pakistan in the World Cup.
yeah. There's a
And
story there.
they've got a exactly. And they've got six others that are playing at Titans. One is playing at Lions, one is playing in the Eastern Cape, and they watch those games because they're trying to get those boys to also get there as well.
Yep.
You have to create that regional support. That's what sports is built out of.
Yeah.
But like you say, that's how you get the rivalries going. Now you've got Soweto going up against Mamelodi. Mamelodi's got 2 guys playing in Titans. Soweto's got about 3 guys playing out of I don't know, Lions.
Lions, yeah.
Now you've got a derby.
Yeah.
Right?
And
You've got
guys are
2
coming
Soweto
out,
teams coming out.
Guys come out. Guys come out. I've seen, have you ever been to a Soweto versus uh for instance, like a Soweto versus Alex cricket club game?
Nah.
Holy smokes, bro. Holy smokes. Like, guys come out. Like, guys come and they park their cars. We played, was it Soweto? I think it was Soweto once. I can't remember for which club I was playing for. And we went out and we played. We were like, no, it's a normal sort of game. We're gonna come out, we're gonna play, right?
Yeah.
Before that game, the soccer was playing. The guys were playing soccer on the other field. They play the game, they finish. The cricket come. I see the guys, they get into their cars, they're about to go. No, bud. Those guys reversed their cars from the soccer game, pointed it, reversed it back into the cricket game. People started streaming in from the streets because the fellas were playing. It almost felt like you were playing like a franchise game or a national game. The support that people have for players that come out of their communities is massive. It's massive and cannot be taken for granted. And I promise you, if like you say, we profile the players that are coming out of those communities that are looking for an opportunity to do whatever, play for national, go play in county somewhere, do all sorts of things. There's an opportunity there for us to really raise the profile of the game to the broader masses.
Yeah, it sounds to me like there is a base understanding of cricket. There's just no desire to support cricket at a franchise level because there's not enough representation. Right? And I know guys are watching, listening to this, and you may be coming from a white background and you're thinking, yeah, but we're not. But listen to me. Listen, guys. Listen. The people, like, if you want the sport to grow, you have to accommodate everybody so that they can support you. Do you not honestly think that when there are more guys, like, do you not think that like the Aiden Markram benefits from having been Rabada's captain?
Yeah.
At under 19 and that they grew up together. Do you not think that the black support now knows who Aiden Markram is? And it may not even be because he's Aiden Markram. It may just be because he comes from an era where somebody that they identify with knows, and so they went and learned about Aiden, learned, oh, he's a good captain. Why do you think nobody's campaigning to remove Aiden? See, it's not about black and white, guys. It's about building enough support so that we can start talking stats and leave the color alone. But to do that, we have to get everybody at the game first.
Absolutely.
You have to be open enough to get everybody at the game so that you don't have to be a international player to actually make a living. You can be a club player and be making good money just because there's such a thirst for good cricket and that anybody from anywhere can make it. This is what, I mean, can you imagine if that Soweto team, if they knew that the performances here could lead to one of our guys making it all the way to the big stage? Can you imagine how much bigger that support would be?
Yeah,
they would rally around. People support their people, man.
Yeah.
People support their people. But if you want, and you guys need to understand that you may not be someone's people on a ground level, you may not be his neighbor, but the better you do and the higher you go up, the more you become someone's people. Now it becomes now you're a Lions player, which means all those Soweto people are your people now, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the game of sports.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, absolutely, dude. There's so many people who if I just look at my own circle, for instance, right? Um,
Yeah,
because they had hopes that um uh for instance, what do you call it? That I'd go and play national, past provincial, and guys started taking interest in the game, and I'm talking about guys that are like staunch South African football fans. They don't even do like European football, right?
yeah.
And they're
Never
like,
thrown a ball in their life.
never thrown a ball in their life, never been interested in any of that. After school, they go home, they get up to whatever it is they get up to, but they'll literally say to you, "Hey, man, I saw highlights of the game this weekend. Mang Mang, this guy was playing Makaya. Hey, he's doing well. So you're gonna be like a Makaya Tini kind of thing. You always have to explain, nah, dude, I bad too, kind of thing. But you have no idea how much people then begin to gravitate to other players. All of a sudden, they knew who Jacques Callis is, right? You go to the hood, and guys would say, "Hey, Jacques Callis, what bad? He can bat, bro. That guy's been batting since yesterday."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they'll say, "Yeah, that guy came in yesterday. I looked at the game today. He's still batting today. Doesn't he get tired?" And then they become fans of a Jacques, right?
Mm.
Because they watched it because there's a
So many black
Makaya
people are Jacques Callis fans.
dude,
Pollock, all those guys
all those
benefited off
guys.
their being part of that Mtini era.
Yeah,
All these guys, the Bouchers, we all love them because those are the guys. And we didn't even know what was happening in the background. But the
yeah,
mere fact that those are the guys that we saw on screen, that embraced Micaiah on screen,
yeah,
and they are the guys that played with him and they won with him. And we love those guys today. You go to
yeah,
any black player, any black South African, and you ask them about who's Jacques Callis, who's Mark Boucher, who's and these guys didn't even win a World Cup. They've never even won a World
yeah,
Cup, but they're famous purely because they were the guys that embraced the African player.
yeah, yeah. And honestly,
The
that's
Fafs of the world. We all love Faf because
yeah,
why? South Africa looks at him as, oh, this guy's always taking care of Rabada, man. Because
yeah,
he's got that relationship. We're like, hey, man, we just want to be at the game with everybody else and be included and loved like everybody else. That's all it is, man. Once you
yeah,
get that, you've got fans. Once you've got fans, you've got an economy that goes beyond just 11 players in the national side.
yep,
Lions become more valuable. Titans become more valuable. Everybody becomes more valuable the more South Africans we bring into the game.
yeah. And you know what? You know what? I'll tell you something else. The once you get guys actually starting to come to the games and watch the games, they'll tell you very quickly which guy needs to go and which guy can stay. And
Yeah,
that will be irrespective of color.
yeah,
We've
yeah.
seen
And I
that
want to
happen
be
time and
clear
time
with
again.
this, right?
Yeah.
I want to be clear with this, right? That we're not saying get rid of any systems. We think that like the South African cricket system is arguably one of the best development systems in
Yeah.
place, right? I mean, compare it to football. Football doesn't even come close. I think
Yeah. We're
rugby and
light years
cricket
ahead.
have great systems. What
Yeah.
we're saying is that let the systems open up opportunities to everybody. Let us just adhere to the actual systems and get rid of our own biases.
Yeah.
Let's invest in everybody. Once we do that, the whole system becomes far more valuable because there's more people invested in it.
Yeah.
There's more people, there's bigger communities all invested in seeing this kid make it out of here and this kid make it out of here. What
Yeah.
do? They support the actual machine that's supposed to get this kid there. And
Yeah.
then when we all get to the top, the systems are designed. The quota system's great. I think the quota system's great. It allows for some sort of like with our past, we need a line.
Yeah.
We're not there yet,
Yeah.
right?
We need to bring
With a
everybody
past like ours,
to the same line before we start running.
Exactly. With a past like South Africa, there needs to be a line. I think the system goes, okay, cool, man. You need X amount of this, X amount of that. Okay, great. Now that we all know the game, let's get everybody supporting it so that we can have everybody debating now. Yeah, no, it's fine. I'll have the debate of yeah, no, but how many black guys we got there? Okay, no, we need to change that guy. He sucks. Right?
Yeah,
I'm happy to have those conversations as long as we're talking stats, then there's enough players to fill all those spots in the
yeah,
respective spots, right?
yeah,
What we need to do is actually build a community that cares about those spots far beyond just a minority.
yeah,
Once the majority cares about all those spots, the whole machine is more valuable.
yeah, yeah. Because I'll tell you what, there'll be a riot if anybody sub Quinton de Kock for someone for a color player who just to get somebody with like just to get another black guy in the side, right? There are plenty
Yeah,
of people who love Quinny. The guys that love Faf, the guys that love um uh what do you call Miller. You have no idea how many black women love David Miller, bro. Like they pine for that dude. You know what I mean? Beyond the game. Beyond the game. So there's and that's what people just need to understand, dude. Like South Africans are all South Africans. They just get their backs up when they feel like there's no the opportunities aren't being um allocated um aren't being allocated fairly across the board. You know what I mean? There's a great opportunity, I think, for South African cricket to really move to another level of support where you literally do see tons of people come out and watch the game. Because again, like you said, they're rooting for a specific player, which in turn you root for their team.
yeah.
It is what it is.
And the reality is that so many people, like, it's that crab in a barrel mentality, right? Is that so many so many guys in the cricket space are so focused on trying to protect what's here, like, oh, it's going to be a takeover. No, it's called an expansion. There's a
Yeah,
difference. You don't get replaced. It's an add-on. It's,
yeah,
oh wait, instead of having just 9 teams at tournament, we got to go up to 18 teams because the support has grown, the amount of players have grown, the
yeah,
interest has grown, the economy has grown. Oh wait, we need to start paying guys for this. Guys are
yeah,
paying to go to games and stuff. Guys are paying for tickets. It's going to get harder. So if
yeah,
you're against this, you're against competition and the growth of cricket for your own selfish reason. And the reality is that, you're not going to make it with this
yeah,
current system, even if you are white.
yeah,
Even if you are white, there's just such a the system. It's not a growing place. So even if you are, and what I mean by you're not going to make it is that, yeah, you're going to make it to Titans, but are we creating the life for sportsmen that would truly bring the best out of them? Yeah. So that's all I'm saying, is that I'm not saying that you're not going to make it. I'm saying that, listen, man, there's 11 spots. 99.9% of South Africans are not going to play for the national side. So if we don't make the level below that, the franchise level, more valuable, then cricket is going to die. Because at some point, these boys become men, and these men need to make a living. And at some point, it becomes bigger than just playing the game. As much as we love the game, it's pure, it's all of that. At some point, that 15-year-old Gwen Namapaga becomes a 25-year-old man who may have not gotten married and not had may or may not have gotten married or had kids or has a life, has to support himself. He's finished varsity, he's studied, he has to choose. Is he going to take his studies, or is he going to take this gig at this club that may maybe end up with him going to franchise? But, we know that franchise isn't actually paying all that great either.
yeah,
So am I going to go become an accountant if I'm a Gwena Mapaga or a young cricketer like that? Or am I going to try my luck out of franchise? And the only reason why I would do that is if I really want to become a pro tier. But I wouldn't do it for the money.
yeah,
I would really have to love cricket and not be good at anything else. But if I'm skilled enough to go make money somewhere else, by the time I get to 25 or so, I'm making. It's not about love for the game anymore. It's about what's paying for the bills and can I marry that with me playing the game.
Yeah.
But if there's no potential for me making it to SAs, at some point I have to make a decision for myself. And these are real life decisions that guys want. Guys, as much as we want to make it in sports, we also want to be rich, man. We also
Yeah.
want to be successful at the
Yeah.
highest degree of in whatever we try and do. We want to be able to be providers for our families, and we want to be great. And what we're saying here at the groundsman is that there is an opportunity for franchise cricket to do that for players that would allow an entire ecosystem to grow out of that. And all that's required is that we need more township guys playing at high levels. And we need to talk about them. We need more guys coming out of even the Afrikaans guys. We need to build their profiles
Yeah.
because right now they're getting their butts kicked by the rugby guys.
Yeah.
Even the Afrikaans guys, even the English guys, everybody's getting their butt kicked by rugby because rugby got that quick format and they figured out what works for them. But
Yeah.
what cricket needs to do is that we need to find our groove and we need to focus on these players. This is
Yeah.
so and so from this place. He does this, and this is what he's been geared up to do. This is what we're looking to do. Create a draft type system, create a platform where these guys can be showcased.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely, dude. Small competitions around, showcase the players, showcase the skills, showcase what it is they can do, and just rally communities around them, man. Because chances are there's so few kids that actually play cricket um, at such a high level in all sort of in a lot of the townships around. Everybody knows who those kids are. Everybody knows the kid that carries that huge ass bag every
Yeah.
day to and from school or to and from the local academy or field on the taxi to go through to Centurion and practice at the Titans. Everybody knows who that boy is. Everybody. So
Mm.
to see him get the opportunity, guys and communities would definitely support, and I think it can only be good for the game. And for from guys that really love the game and want to see it produce opportunities for young players, no matter really the color or the race. This is the way you've got to do it. You've got to do it this way. There's another 70% of this country that want to support the game and pump money into the game and buy tickets and buy T-shirts and memorabilia and all these things, but there's no way they're gonna do it if they don't see themselves in the game.
Look, at the end of the day, I think, listen, man, you want to shock the system? Bring out. Remember, there was a team called I don't know if they're still around now, known as Border Kai.
Yeah, Boracay, they're still around. Yeah,
Right? So, well, how you fast track this thing, if you want to build an economy, is that you build a franchise team that can compete, but you keep it all black. And it's not for any quota reasons. Everybody agrees that that is that team. And what you really want to get out of that is you want the country to see themselves compete at that level, and everybody will begin to learn everything about all the other teams.
yeah,
But it starts with having that one catalyst team, and it will come. It
yeah.
will come.
It'll come.
And I use Bodakai as an example because Bodakai was known as that exclusively developmental team
Yeah,
that got to compete at tournament. For those who don't understand where Bodakai fits in.
yeah, yeah. No, I agree. That is coming. That is coming. I think there are lots of people who love the game, and who want to see the game expand. And I think we're all just trying to find ways and think about ways in which we can expand the game and make it also financially and economically viable for the kids that we're pushing into the game as well. Um, yeah, man. I think there's also competition that I thought we should have a chat about. Sort of popped into my radar last week sometime. We've spoken about all the competitions that we're looking forward to. This one was not on my radar. It seemed like it happened last year. It started last year in 2020, in 29. No, it started in 2019, not 2020. And it's interesting. It's the North versus South T20 competition. Um, Essentially, teams from the north of South Africa, and these are school teams. Obviously, there's a groundsman. So school teams from the north of South Africa playing against school teams from the south of South Africa. And if you want to know what I'm talking about, school teams from the north, we've got Hoërskool Menlo Park, we've got Hoërskool Waterkloof, Hoërskool Centurion, Hoërskool Nelspruit, Hoërskool Rustenburg, Potch Hoërskool Volksskool. We've got Maria Viljoen, and we've got St. Andrew's School in Bloemfontein. Right, so those are essentially the schools that are from the north, that are representing the pride of the north, right?
Okay.
And then schools representing the pride of the south of South Africa. We've got Grey College from Bloemfontein. We've got Northwood High School. We've got Westville Boys High. We've got St. Andrew's College. We've got Sachs. We've got Grey High in PE. We've got Rondebosch Boys High School. We've got Wynberg Boys High School. So those are the teams, North versus South T20 competition. It's set to start quite soon. I think it's in about a week or two. They start from the 14th of October to the 17th of October.
Okay.
So I don't know what you think about that, man. You heard the school's list. Does it seem competitive to you? Does it seem like something we can get behind?
Yeah, it definitely has the top guys. It also sounds like it's a bit of a English versus Afrikaans affair taking place here.
So it should be fire. Should be competitive.
Yeah, it sounds like we got a bit of an Anglo tournament taking place here.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I read the schools to you, right? We didn't hear, there was no Katlehong, there was no, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So but it seems like an initiative that was started to get the boys back into the game, give them more playing time. And it seems like there are quite a few sponsors that support this. You've got everything from We Buy Cars to Atterbury Trust, right through to what do you call it? From Atterbury Trust right through to Puma, Groot FM. So you've got quite a few sponsors. So the guys that put this together are clearly have the pull and the capacity to talk to some big sponsors to come in and get involved in the game. Yeah, so that's the competition. Interesting competition. The guys start playing from the 14th to the 17th of October. I think there's it's something that a lot of players are looking forward to. I mean, it's a T20 competition. Clearly, the landscape has changed. Like we spoke to the guys on Sports 101 in India, that the South African landscape has changed, and it's just a tournament I think we're looking forward to. They have their first games are starting soon on the 14th. So a lot of the games are being played in Pretoria, right?
Yeah.
They're playing out. They're playing out in CBC. They're playing at Villages. Some games are at Bartoclub, some at Menlo Park. So there's quite a bit of games. So if you're in Pretoria, if you're in the Gauteng region, if you're traveling down from Rustenburg, any of the surrounding regions, I think that's an interesting tournament for you to get a view of some of the talent around the country.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think the tournament itself, look, I never have a problem with whenever guys want to bring in sort of a township school to come and compete. It's never, it sounds great, but it's never great for the boys because they're just not on the same level. So you're gonna
Yeah,
go in there, you're gonna play Saint Stithians, and they're just gonna cream you
yeah,
because it's not just you. They do that to everybody.
yeah,
But what happens is that you're going to play against guys that are used to playing against guys like Saint Stithians. And so a valiant effort with a team like that is too much for you. So it's
yeah,
not a confidence booster to bring a township school to come and play at a high level because they're just not there. What
yeah,
needs to happen is the development side first. Is
yeah,
that we need to invest more in actually getting players competing at that level. So I think that's where you see it at club cricket. Because club
yeah,
cricket gets all the boys that used to go to all the schools that had the great systems.
yeah,
And then you start to see a crop of players that can actually compete. So I think the club scene and post school should be far more inclusive with our current systems in place right
yeah. No, I definitely agree, man. I definitely agree, and there are clubs that are, I think, are doing a fantastic job in bringing um these players together. You see guys
now. Or
post
township
school.
super schools.
Yeah.
I'm thinking they should have a township super school where you find the best
Oh,
players out of all the schools in the township that can compete at tournaments like these,
hello,
just to give guys
hello,
some
T,
exposure.
hello, T, hello, T. Hang on, hang on.
Just to
Okay,
give guys a little bit of exposure. So you'll
yeah,
probably have one guy at Katlehong who can really play. And then you'll maybe have another guy, Omututlung, who's also pretty good.
yeah,
And they all play provincial and they're all from these township schools. But if you were to put them all together and have them compete at tournaments like the Michael Mass Festival, at tournaments, no, not provincial, they're competing with the best schools, but they
schools.
are at school cricket level. So at all these tournaments, we invite these special township schools that can come and compete. So at least you know that these kids that are showing potential in the township throughout the year are competing with the level of talent that kids from that everybody else is competing against as well. So
Mm,
when it comes down to provincial time, he's been playing against Rondebosch. He's been playing against Saint Stithians. He's been playing. He's got those stats to show as well.
yeah,
But he's not going to do that with his school team. He can do that with a collective bunch of really good, talented players in his neighborhood.
yeah,
They can form a sort of a special team to compete in school leagues and then let them go and trial like normal. You just have that special sort of unit that you put together made up of the players that are showing potential at different schools that we can't take to those private schools. They got us
yeah,
there. So he can still play for Katlehong in his local league, but he knows now that, okay, cool. I play in this league, right? Because the
yeah,
thing is, you're not going to strengthen the overall league until you strengthen the infrastructure.
yeah,
So you can't say that you're taking away value from the local Katlehong league. Because, I mean, what are we talking about,
yeah.
right? It doesn't
It's
have an
kids just
infrastructure.
playing. Yeah,
Exactly. So they say, oh, you're taking away our one good player. Yeah, but your one good player is wasted in that league
yeah,
because he's not playing to his best potential. He's not finding his best potential. But if you were to, and you could also consolidate the infrastructure, right? So
yeah,
instead of having to now upskill every school to have nets and all that stuff. You can have a local center that has the best equipment in every township. And so those kids get to compete at a school league, and that's where we can start to look for the balance within the developmental structures. The
Yeah,
community also knows who to support. That's our local team. Now, when there's a
yeah,
Michael Mass festival, all of a sudden you've got people from Katlehong watching your games on Pitch Vision.
yeah, yeah. No, definitely, I get you there, man. I think I think that's what the hubs are trying to do, right? But I think it might not be, um, I think it might not be as effective as they're hoping it would be. Because the hubs are traditionally based in townships and sort of disadvantaged areas, and they're supposed to sort of get the best players from the different schools or whatever. Um,
Yeah.
and then the provinces will provide them with coaches, coaching gear, whatever, and then they'll have them practice or play at a specific place. And then from those hubs, then they pick sort of provincial kids that get selected for the province, and that, like, it's supposed to be like that kind of developmental
Yeah.
structure. I just think that there might be an implementation, not an implementation issue, um but a marketing issue. You know what I mean? I think I've spoken to some of the
And I
guys
think they're
from.
just missing a step from what you've
Yeah.
just said. They're missing a fundamental step is that they're trying to push these boys to become provincial cricketers. They're not trying to make these
Mm,
boys become good school cricketers. So
yeah,
they're trying to skip the step where everybody else that's competing at provincial is going through, which is every weekend I'm playing games against the best school boys in the country. Some teams have, and each team has either one or two really good players, and then everybody else is pretty decent. And so my level of competition throughout the year, I'm still competing. Whereas
still.
these boys are almost fast tracked to say, get into this team. We'll try to get you into the provincial setup. It's that whole mentality of trying to get to pro tiers instead of enjoying the actual game. Get these
Yeah,
boys from young just playing high school cricket at a high level.
yeah,
Just get them competing at a high level. Part of what made Fields College so good at a certain period, and anybody who knows the game back then, we're a small high school team, but we had a crop of players who had just been playing against really high competition for a long time. And so when we all got together, we could compete just because we'd grown up playing against the best guys in the province at a
yeah,
high school level.
yeah, yeah,
So I think it's not about getting these boys to provincial. It's just about building good high school cricket players. That even if they leave and he never played provincial, he was good enough to play against Saint Stithians, Rondebosch,
yeah,
Grey High, Grey College. He was good enough to play there. That should be a goal in itself. Because I
yeah,
tell you what, it's a goal for those boys.
yeah,
We people may not value it, but for a Saint Stithians boy, it's a goal to be able to have the honor to play Saint Stithians first team and compete against the best schools in the country. And that's all
yeah,
we should do for township boys at this point. Develop them in that sense. Want to
yeah,
be the best kid.
yeah. No, I absolutely agree, man. There's definitely a step that's being missed there, and if we can get that right, I think then we talk about exposure, right? Then there's actually like an eye-opening experience where the boys are going and they travel to St. Stithians and play at their grounds and actually see what some of these players, what some of the facilities that some of these schools have, and it
Yeah.
actually then opens their their opportunity set from where they come from, and say, oh, holy smokes, there's a world out there. There's a world, because what happens often with teams is that after, if you're playing a 50 over game, conversations start to flow, right? Hey, where you guys from? Hey, no, we're at wherever. Ah, okay, cool, man. Hey, there was actually a thing going on. Oh, okay, that's cool. So what sports do you guys have here outside of cricket? Now we've got hockey, we've got this, we've got opportunity set, mindset starts to happen, friendships start to form. Um, and
That's where respect is
yeah,
earned.
yes, yes, that's
That's
a
where
big
respect
one.
is earned. The biggest problem is we get to prevention. You see this guy that you've never seen on the circuit. You know you've played the best guys in the country. You know you've played the best schools. I don't know these guys. They're coming out of the township. I
Yeah,
know they haven't played the best because I play for the best teams and I've played against the best teams. I
yeah,
didn't see them at the Michael Mass tournament. I didn't see them at the North versus
versus
South
South.
tournament. They're
Yeah,
not at these they're not at these tournaments. And now all of a sudden, this guy's the opening batsman for our team, and we're just supposed to take it. We don't know
yeah,
who this guy is.
yeah. No
He hasn't
respect for
earned
him.
these stripes in a high school game.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the problem. Is that you don't give these boys an opportunity to earn their stripes. It's saying, yeah, I know that guy from under 15, under 17, under 18. He's been around, man. He plays for Katlehong.
yeah, yeah. And okay,
Played, scored some hundreds against us.
yeah, that's definitely it. That's where the level of respect then sort of falls away, or rather kicks in, because honestly, once you get to tournament, that's probably why sort of a lot of the guys we played against, no matter where they came from, we knew who they were. They're like, no, no, no.
Yeah.
I played against Marinas, right? We've played
Mm,
against him during the year. The guy can bat. We all know that. No one's
yeah.
confused about whether or not Marinas can bat. But because a lot of the kids that they do try and push, especially in the smaller provinces, it's often come end of the year, we're about to sort of go to trials provincially, come out of nowhere. You're like, I don't know who these guys are. Um, you get to tournament, then they bat because the players are also nervous, right? Your nerves aren't necessarily that bad because a lot of these guys you've played against, so you know who the big bowlers are, who the quick guys are, who the good spinners are generally because you're in the system and you're playing in the right leagues. But because some players aren't necessarily coming from those leagues, their nerves may be a little high. So they might have a bad first game or second game and try and compose themselves and do something, right? I think it's important. I think the most important thing, what you said, man, the respect is then built. That is huge, dude.
Yeah. Because and in hindsight, actually, when you look back, you're like, a lot of times it was miscommunicated as a racial issue.
Yeah,
But I think back to myself, and even for me, the black guys that would play in the team that never played against before, never seen before, I would be like, who's this guy?
yeah,
It wasn't about race. When you really look at it, it was a competition.
yeah,
And all these guys were competing for those spots. So if I'm not going to get those spots, I'm going to question everybody else that got those spots. And and if I've played against you, I go, okay, cool. I can see how Lopes gets in. You know, I mean, I see how that happens. He
yeah,
can bowl, he can bat, cool. I see how Joster gets in. That's cool. Okay,
yeah,
cool. But how about this guy? How about this guy? How did he get into the side? He's never played against it. You know what I mean? It's you're competing for that spot.
yeah,
So for me, it's these boys need to get to a space where they earn the respect as high school cricketers. And the only
yeah,
way they can do that is if they can form teams that can compete because you can't do it on your own. You can't carry your team because you're the guy that can play. Nobody's that good that young.
yeah,
In
yeah,
this game, you can't do that. This isn't like football.
yeah. Where you
I
can
can
score
carry the
like
team.
3, 4 goals by yourself, and the rest of the
Exactly.
guys are just fillers. You can't do that. You have to play a full squad.
Exactly. You got a limited amount of overs. So even if you're the best bowler, you've only 50 over game, you've got 10 overs. The other
Yeah,
40 overs belong to everybody else in that team, buddy. We'll
yeah,
see you through if we need to. Good cricketers, we'll see you through, but it's okay.
yeah,
Plus, you
yeah,
don't bowl them end to end. So somebody's bowling on the other end, releasing the valve anyway.
Yeah, yeah,
So, you're the best batsman. Okay, cool. You still need somebody to rotate strike with. You need somebody to bat with. So we'll give you one, and then we'll just pepper the guys on the other side. So you
yeah,
can't do it on your own, not in this game. So you need to find a good crop of players that can go and compete. Even if they're not the best, they need to be able to compete.
yeah,
But if you a Bangladeshi, they're not the best. We all know that, but we all know, hey, don't sleep on them. You
yeah.
just need to be that kind of team.
As a team, they could take you. Yeah,
Once you get that under the belt, man, you've got something. And I think that's how you develop cricket in SA. That's how and you keep it fair because you're not dismantling the system. And I think that for me personally, I've looked at these schools and I think that schools would be far more susceptible to this type of system than the one where guys show up at the top,
yeah, yeah.
where they're like, no,
Absolutely
okay,
agree,
cool.
man.
Add one more team to Michael Mass or add three more teams to Michael Mass. Let the government pay for those.
Yeah,
Let them
yeah,
compete. They do well tournament. They do well at tournament. We now know who the good players are out of there because they did it against us. And that's where the respect comes from. Is that hey man, that kid scored 100 against us.
yeah,
That kid scored 100 against Ronda Bosch. Give him respect. That kid scored 100 again. Oh, he's picked up a five. Did you hear the one kid from, what's the name? From, I don't know, Ikacheng. Dismantled St. Stithian's batting line.
yeah.
That's the stuff
You
that
do that. You're in
they
the
won't
papers,
ignore.
boy. You
They
do
won't
that.
ignore you.
Yeah,
Because I
yeah,
don't think I think we're moving past racism and we're moving to a people that aren't necessarily racist but are still operating within a system that was trying to combat racism.
yeah,
And so the system is harsher than the people actually are.
yeah. I think as a people, we just want to see the game progress, man. No matter the race, we just want to see the best players play. And in all honesty, if we push for that, for the structure that you spoke about right now, adding that to the current structure that we have right now, we have a massive opportunity to produce some really talented cricketers all around. Really talented,
Yeah.
because being separate doesn't work, dude. Separate, sitting in our own corner, doing our own thing doesn't work. It just doesn't. It doesn't cultivate the right amount or the right quality of competition in order to produce the right players. But definitely, if we add to the system the way that you're proposing right now, there's a greater opportunity for us to create players from places where we traditionally probably wouldn't have seen players come out of.
Yep. And this is what selectors have been complaining about, right? That there's not enough. So we're saying the system's fine. We found you a way to find more like players. That is a way for schools, and there's not a lot of structure that needs to change because, like you say, there's already a structure in place like that is getting funding, that is
Yeah,
designed to find the best townships players and put them together. All we're saying is that let's find a way to get these teams competing throughout the year rather than trying to get fast track them into the um, provincial side. Let's
yeah,
just let them compete throughout the year with everybody else consistently. If they don't do well, then they're not good enough to even make it to provincial. Then we know now.
yeah, yeah, because that's where the competition is in reality.
Yeah. And that way we'll start to get a much more finer reading of the kids that actually deserve to play provincial cricket. Because now we're looking at everybody's stats, everybody's playing against everybody, and we've now created a level playing field where this is what we're looking at. This is the pool of players, and everybody's included here, including representation from all parts. We've taken the
Yeah,
best from the township, the best from the suburbs, the best from all parts, and we're saying, okay, cool. This is where they compete. This is where they
yeah,
compete in order to get a chance to be able to represent their province.
yeah,
That's all it is, man. There's
yeah,
not a lot of guys right now. Not a lot of guys right now. So let's start with the crop. you build that economy first. So all it takes is finding 11 players in your local township to compete in your district.
Yeah.
Start it there. Simple. When it grows, guess what? When those kids make it out of there, they're gonna build an economy. People are gonna invest more in the schools' infrastructures in order to have cricket played more, and you're gonna have a better output.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely, T, man. I think let's round it off. That fantastic conversation, I think. Thoughtful conversation, eye-opening one. I think for me as well, in that there is a way to get a lot of the players that are sort of sitting outside of um that not even outside, that are sitting in the system, just a better way to manage them and put them out there, and let everybody build their own respect as a player and their own competency as a player, without necessarily needing to create separate structures to give them those skills and develop them like that. So fantastic, man. I think we had a great show. T, any last words?
No, man. Just hope that the rain gives the boys a bit of a break to get some games in. Obviously, we're not hoping that the rain goes away. It's always good to have some rain.
Yeah.
Just give us between 8 and 4 on Saturdays, and we'll be good.
Saturdays and Sundays, and we'll be happy, man. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. We really appreciate you. Again, the Groundsman Show. This was episode 6. We're having a great time. Hopefully, you can join us next week. From the Groundsman. See you next week. All right, everybody. Welcome to the Groundsman. Still is, man. That top order just demolished him. So normally what that structure looks like is that and honestly that's part of why the groundsmen are here as well, so that you don't have to wait for Coke Week in order to see who's who and what's what.